Chicago Huntsmen, Katie, after this tournament, after the way that they lost to the New York Subliners and then they lost to the Dallas Empire, where do we rank them in the league right now?
I put them in my top 5. I do not. They're certainly no longer in my top 3. I think realistically, I have Dallas, Atlanta, and then a toss-up between Minnesota and Florida for 3rd and 4th. I would put Minnesota above Florida, despite the fact that they lost in that grand final, and then I would slot Chicago in that 5th slot. They have continued to look lackluster without improvement for 3 semifinals that they have been eliminated from in a row. At what point do you keep giving the narrative of, oh, our heads weren't in the game, we just need a grind, we're gonna focus up, we got this? It's first time shame on you, second time shame on me, third time are you just I'm not lying. You're not lying, obviously,
Yeah.
but I clearly can't take substance out of what you're saying because it continues to feel lackluster. It continues to feel like there's no fire there, especially if there was any match, Arda, that you were going to see the fire from the Chicago Huntsmen. It was against the Dallas Empire in the semifinal of
I
their
wanted to
whole
see this
tournament after
so
they had
badly.
beat Dallas 3 times. Dallas had never beat Chicago. So you would think there's fire there, right? And Dallas clearly came with that fire, and Chicago was just like, the whole entire team. I think Dallas fired on all cylinders.
Right, yeah.
But Chicago was just like, oh, do I have a pulse? Oh, we lost. Get them next time. Like, I just saw nothing out of them. And so you cannot warrant a top 3, much less a top 4 slot for me if there's just no improvement.
I think the thing that I want to piggyback on a lot of things that Katie said here, and something that we were just talking about with Atlanta, is like, why is Atlanta a good team? Yes, they have like insanely just talented, like mechanically talented individuals, but they also have an incredible team chemistry and they know how they want to play. I think you also see that from Dallas. Like even when they were not performing well, I didn't look at this team and I'm like, okay, this team doesn't know how they want to play. And they were very fiercely defensive of each other, right? Like whenever someone came out and started talking smack about Shotzi or Illy when they were initially kind of struggling in their transition, the rest of the team was just like, no, like, shut up, sit down, we're going to be great. This is our team. These are the people we picked. We picked them for a reason. They said it repeatedly when I interviewed them in Los Angeles. They're like, this is our validation. This is why we picked these players. We are a fantastic team. And I think you see that from Florida as well with like, I know we've talked about how unfortunate it is for a player like Pristini to be on the bench, but with the addition of Farrow, this team seems to have clicked on a different level, and they understand a little bit more about how they want to play as a unit. Not necessarily having like, that's not a one-to-one comparison of like Farrow is automatically better than Pristini or Pristini is automatically better than Farrow. That's not the point here at all. But they figured out how they wanted to play, right? And Chicago, I look at them and I'm like, this is insanely talented lineup. One of my favorite players to watch in all of COD is actually Envoy, and he's on this team. You know, you have incredibly popular, incredibly skilled players on this team, incredibly smart players on this team. And for whatever reason, and I have no idea, but for whatever reason, they haven't looked nearly as synchronized as these other rosters in Dallas, in Atlanta, in Florida, in Minnesota. These top like 4 teams that we're talking about are all teams that have really good chemistry and a really good understanding of how they want to play together. And I don't see that from Chicago anymore.
Here's my prediction. The next time we see Chicago play competitively is the Seattle series. So they skipped the Florida series. May 22nd is the next time we see Chicago. That team will not look the same.
Ooh.
That is my prediction. That team will not look the same. There's been
That's a hot.
That is a hot one. Because I think they'll stick with the roster.
Let me explain really quickly. There's been way too many conversations publicly from players on that team about how they haven't been playing well and the adjustments haven't been there. You've seen the tweets from Arcides. You've seen tweets from Formal. You've seen... Now, to be fair, Formal did say my motivation is back. But we have been
played
seeing,
well
if you
this
read,
weekend. I mean,
and he
he
played well
played
this
well
weekend. But
individually.
if you read
Yeah.
through if you read between the lines, for me, these results are unacceptable to that team, and they're going to take a long, hard look in the mirror, and they're going to say, we got to make some changes here. I'm not predicting what those changes will be, but I can absolutely think with confidence that this team will look at least slightly different the next time they compete in CDL.
Who knows? You know what? I will put money on there's going to be another rule change. I guarantee you. There's going to be another rule change because everyone assumes rule changes fix every problem. I don't know if you're going to see Arsenic back on main AR or something. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they'll give it one more role change before they start looking outside of the team because they seem really dedicated to this team, and also they do have 2 weeks now or not 2 weeks. They have like a month because of not having an event to take a look at what's wrong. Hopefully, get like more just consistent scrims where they can work on whatever it is that they want to work out. And if they want to make another role swap, they'll make another role swap. But it's weird for me to think that this team would consider picking up other players just because they seem really stubbornly dedicated to this lineup, in my opinion.
I will say, Arda, to your point, I've had a lot of people in my channel ask me, they're like, yeah, so Gunless for Dashy, right? Like, you don't understand. Gunless and Slasher played together before, and they won, and they hated each other. They hated teaming together. There's literally zero chance that Gunless is going to go to Optic. There's no shot. So I want to say that on this show, too, because people keep bringing that up. And you know what, if we want to watch the comedy factor of Slasher and Gunless going at each other's throats, then sure. That would not work out.